In this video, I'm going to provide a brief overview of the citation management software called Mendeley. I will highlight key features of the software so that you can compare and contrast with other citation management tools and determine which one is most appropriate for you. I'll begin by pointing out that Mendeley can be used on both PC and Apple devices. Next, I want to point out that Mendeley comes in both a desktop version and a web-based version, and Mendeley has a sync feature that will allow you to go back and forth between each version and across multiple devices. Between the two, I primarily use and prefer the desktop version, which has its advantages when it comes to writing papers, and I will point out those features a little bit later on in the video. For now, let's take a look at the interface of the desktop version of Mendeley. Once installed onto your device, here's what the desktop version of Mendeley should look like. And just to give you a quick overview of the different panels on here, we'll start with this first one, which I call the Explorer panel. So this is how you would organize the sources that you have imported into Mendeley in this window here. And then this larger window here is where those sources would appear based on what you have selected. So in this case, I have all my documents selected, so that's what's appearing in this middle window. If I select a specific topic, then only sources related that I have in that folder will appear here in this documents window. This panel on this side, this is where the metadata related to the sources will appear. So let me pick a source, and you'll see that all the metadata, including things like the title, the author, in this case is the book section, and year, pages, and I can also add additional information here that may be useful in terms of searching for it later on. Next, I'll point out this panel here, which is your filter panel. And right now I have it set on to be filtered by authors, but you can also filter through by author keywords, my tags and publications. This is information that you will populate over here in the metadata panel. Right. Now let's take a look at features that are related to once you open up articles inside Mendeley. So here I have a journal article, and then I also have a book section. And I can still look at my metadata if I want to and read the article or the source at the same time. I just prefer, most of the time I'm just looking at the article. And as I'm reading the article, you come across lines or points in the article that you really find important that you may end up wanting to cite yourself. So here's how this works. Just highlight a line. And I've given three options. To highlight, I can highlight and add a note, or this just copies it to a clipboard where I may paste it somewhere else. So let's take a look at highlight. This is it's straightforward, and some people actually have different color coding schemes as far as highlighting, and so this does give you the option to choose several different highlighting colors here. I can go and highlight another line. And let's say I'll stop here, and I choose this option to highlight and add note. So what it does is it highlights and opens up this note box, and I can type in a note. And even the notes can be color coded as well, so I can change this to something different. And notice that the note is in blue. I can also come back here and change the highlight to match the note if I want to. And I can also go back to something that's already highlighted. If I want to add a note later on, I could do that too. So as you can see, this is indicating that there is a note here. Right? So these are the annotation features that are available in Mendeley. All right, I want to come back to the Explorer window for just a quick second and point out something that usually comes up with those that are new to citation management tools. So you can see I have all of these folders organized here by different topics based on the sources that I've read and sources that I've stored inside of them. So what I get and particularly from PC users who are very familiar with this window, this type of window, they say that, well, I can create these folders on my actual computer and just store the articles in here, very similar to how you have them inside your Mendeley. What is the difference? Well, here's the difference. Let's say I'm writing an article or I'm writing a paper and I'm talking about STEM education. Yes, I do have a folder and I have articles here or sources here that are related to STEM education, but there are potential other sources here that would support my paper, maybe addressing key points about STEM education, but maybe the overall topic was related to something else. For example, let's see, problem-based learning is a topic that's very connected to STEM education. So how would I be able to search for all the articles that at least mention STEM education when there's multiple ones scattered out throughout my my sources here? So here's what I do. I set this to all documents, and I will go in the search feature and type STEM education. And it's going to bring up, because I'm selecting on all documents, it's going to bring up every single document that mentions STEM education. And I can go specifically to a folder, and inside PBL you can see that I have several sources here that are related to STEM education, or at least it's going to come up, it's going to point out combinations of the search terms that I've put in here. Another way also is, if I highlight an article, I can put in key tags here, and you can see even under PBL there's keywords here, in this case STEM education, and I can actually come over here under filter and search by author keywords, and all of these keywords here are what is in my metadata, at least under PBL for now, right? And if I want to look under all my documents, it's going to give me the complete list of my entire library of all the different keywords that are mentioned at least once in at least one source that I have. All right, the next features I want to point out will require for me to open up a Word document. And so this is probably the most important features of, or most beneficial features of Mendeley is, or any citation management tool that has something similar to this, is your in-text citations and your reference list. So I'll start by pointing out that under references, Mendeley comes with a plugin. And once you install the plugin, you'll see this extra box pop up here. So the first thing is, I'll start by typing a sentence. And so if I want to put an in-text citation here, this is how it works. I just make sure that my cursor is where I want the in-text citation to begin. I go to Insert Citation, and I get this box that pops up here, and click Go to Mendeley, and I can go to a source that's already open, or I can go and find a source something else that I want to use, but in this case I'm just going to use a source that's already open, and then click this Cite button here, and it will populate, it will place an in-text citation based on the way the metadata is set up inside of Mendeley. So here's where you have to be careful, is that when you first bring a source into Mendeley, it is worthwhile just taking a few minutes just to make sure that the author's names are spelled correctly, and then all this information in the title is in the appropriate, depending on the format of your references or your paper. Make sure everything is listed appropriately. And if you are doing a type of in-text citation when you're just mentioning the author, so according Oop, to and all you need is the year, so I can go through that same process and oops, this is the wrong. I know. Let's get out of this. Go back to this particular group, and in this type of in-text citation, I just need the year, so you can manually edit your in-text citations, and it's going to ask you, do I want to keep them? Yes. So you have the option to go to do in-text citations either way. And of course, when writing a paper, we need to build out our reference pages. So let me just add another sentence here. So I'm going to add a different source. I'm going to cite a different source. And all right, so I have at least two different sources here. And I want to build out my reference page. So the way it works, or the easiest way to approach it, is to start a new page. Oops. And then you only have to do this the first time. Once you start the new page and you title it references, then you go back to your reference tab here and you click the insert bibliography tab, and it will insert all, based on the sources that you have cited, it will insert the references for them here. Now again, this is based on how I have this information stored here. So for example, let's say I did not have this in, for APA in sentence case. This should be lowercase, but let's say this was capitalized here. And I come here, you can see that it's capitalized here, all right? But you can always make changes on the fly. So if I just noticed something was off, whether it be any part of this information, I go back here to my metadata and hit refresh, and it'll automatically update it with the changes that I've made in Mendeley. So in-text citations and your references, and these are things that we will constantly be dealing with all of our documents. And these features are at least the two that I find the most useful with the Mendeley software. One additional thing I want to point out as far as between the in-text citations and the reference features of Mendeley, or at least the plugin within a Word document, is that notice that it already organizes it in alphabetical order for you. So I can put a few more be active. All right, so let me add just another source here, and let's see. I don't even have to have it open. I can just cite the source directly from here. So I can, as long as it's highlighted, and I can hit cite. And so I have another source cited here, and you can see that it remains in alphabetical order. If I decide to remove one of these sources, so delete, I just hit refresh, and then my references are updated as well. I hope you found this video helpful in determining which citation management software to use. If you have any further questions about Mendeley that I did not address, you may contact me at the email listed on the screen. Good luck.